Ooh. Okay, here we go. All right, so Tyrion VII from A Storm of Swords. Right, nice, tiny, neat little chapter, a transition chapter, someone might call it. And all right, let's get into it. Because last time we saw our main man Tyrion, he was trying to figure out what the hell Mr. Baelish, actually Lord Baelish, what the hell he'd been doing with the royal finances. You know, cooking the accountancy books, creating money out of thin air. When in fact, a lot of that gold that was namely on the ledgers was in fact in the form of loans, among other investments. Loans that could never be repaid because those debtors had been, you might remember that, catapulted out of the city at Joffrey's orders. So there, interesting story. Something about being disloyal to the crown in times of war, you know, being part of a faction known as the Antler Man. Why Antler Man anyway? Why they call themselves that? Because they considered themselves true Baratheon supporters and disowned Joffrey as true and legitimate heir. Wonder why? Did they even exist in the first place? Who knows? Next, he was summoned. Our main man Tyrion was summoned to a small council meeting and informed of the outcome from the Red Wedding. Blood did flow, hence red, and it was all poorly explained in a parchment sent by Lord Walder Frey, with a parchment which said, Roslin caught a fine fat trout. Okay. Her brothers gave her a pair of wolf pelts for her wedding. Yep. So Robb Stark was indeed no more, which put Tyrion in a bit of an awkward position, I should say. What with Sansa Stark being his newly wedded wife. Whoops! How am I going to explain that? This is rather embarrassing. It's certainly not going to improve my SEX life with the young Sansa. Not that, you know, it was going anywhere to begin with. And then there was the little challenge of dealing with poison expert, I can't stress that enough, poison expert Prince Oberyn Martell, the red snake, who happens to know that Sir Gregor Clegane was the hitman who committed those atrocities, you know, against Oberyn's sister Elia Martell and her children. So he's presently here in King's Landing demanding justice and implying that he also knows who ordered those atrocities, none other than Tywin Lannister. Except that Tywin had a solution for that. He said, let's tell Oberyn that Amory Lorch, that's him, that's the guy, Amory Lorch, let's tell him that he was the actual guilty party. Which was really handy, actually, considering that Vargo Hoat had already fed the above-named Amory Lorch to a bear in Harrenhal. It kind of worked like Russian dolls here, and not just because of the brown bear was involved. Here, check this out. Vargo Hoat dispatches Amory Lorch. Gregor Clegane dispatches Vargo Hoat. You know, almost biblical, you know. Begets. Begot. Whatever. So these were Tyrion's most immediate challenges at the end of the previous Tyrion POV chapter. Time to get into Tyrion VII, shall we? Not too many pages. What is it, like 6 pages here? Yeah, no, we won't be spending a lot of time on it. Welcome, dear listener, to the incoherent ramblings of an insane person online. We read George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire, chapter by chapter. So, without further ado, let's proceed. And I don't know if you are one of those readers who like to flip a few pages ahead, especially at a first read, you know, just to flip, just to see what POV chapters await you. Whose stories are we going to read in the next few chapters? Let's see. And I do realize then that in a series like this series of novels, these books don't come with an index for a good reason. Because given how main characters tend to be, killed off when you least expect it, as we have experienced so far, even knowing that a particular character is still alive 4 or 5 chapters ahead can technically be considered as a minor spoiler. The author himself said something to that effect when making some quick brief revelations or how would you call it, updates on how the Winds of Winter was coming along. You might hear a tone of frustration in my voice. Yes, that's right. I am still recording this at a time in an historical era where the Winds of Winter hasn't been released yet. Yeah, what are you going to do? Minor spoilers. So, okay. I'll tread carefully here. Maybe I can risk giving out this one minor spoiler, just tiny one, even if you happen to be a first-time reader. Yeah? Okay, here we go. Judging from the next POV chapters, it looks like we are at the beginning of a 4-chapter sort of a mini story seen from the point of view of just 2 characters. These 4 chapters being Tyrion, Sansa. Which I guess makes sense, considering that these 2 share a bedchamber, if only for sleeping. But yeah, you will remember that the last time we saw a similar structure was in Catelyn area. We did see the same story, sort of like viewed from 2 different angles, from 2 different characters who were coming closer and closer together, only to miss each other at the end. And then the whole thing culminating in you-know-what. Could it be, now this is the question, could it be that we are about to witness something similar? Anyway, so I'll shut up at this point, and while I'm at it, I might as well give you my non-spoiler policy. In this series, I will only be looking at past chapters and books, and not future ones. In other words, I'll be looking back and not ahead. So there you have it. Anyway, right. So the chapter here begins with the usual, scenes of a marriage, scenes of a disintegrating marriage, dysfunctional marriage. Sansa, who can't stop sobbing because she's received the news, we assume, but behind closed doors, and Tyrion, who knows better than to try and console her, because he knows only too well that he himself is actually part of the problem, not exactly a solution. So, and she sobs behind closed doors when she thinks no one can hear her. That's really sad, actually. So here, we are once again reminded of the gruesome details of how Robb and Catelyn were whacked. The latter beheaded. No, the former. Robb. Which character did I mention first? Anyway, so Robb was beheaded, and the head of his direwolf, Grey Wind, soon to his neck, his body desecrated and paraded around, and Catelyn stripped naked and thrown into the Green Fork River in a mockery of a Tully funeral, consigning the dead to the river and all that. So yeah, not your run of the mill sort of wedding, really. Still, we'll have to store these details for later, because everything in this book leads somewhere. If there's something this 3rd installment is famous for, is economy of narrative. Today's throwaway lines are important plot points tomorrow. Kind of like when you make a meal out of leftovers, from the last 2 days. You just put it all together and say, hey, it'll all come in handy. Don't you worry about that. These details will resurface in one way or another. And I don't know if you do that. I would actually, if I had any leftovers left, yes, that's what I would do. I guess I would try to use my imagination and come up with an entirely new dish. That's how so many dishes on international cuisine menus all over the world were created. Anyway, not that I ever have any leftovers, what with my severe case of gluttony. Anyway, enough about my insane feeding habits. We learn here that Tyrion and Sansa are now in a new sort of accommodation type thing. In other words, they are now in what used to be Lord Giles's spacious apartment above the kitchen. Oh, Tywin! That was all the poor old man had left in his life. Okay, maybe not poor, but that that guy with one foot in the grave can't stop coughing. That's his only character trait. That was all he had. The convenience of living one flight of stairs away from the kitchen, which must be kind of like living on the first floor of a pub, always with the option of popping down in the middle of the night for a snack. Let's see what's in the fridge. Oh, yeah, sausages. Maybe a pint of draft ale. Don't mind if I do. He had that, at least. But no, it was taken away from him. Tywin has kicked the poor sod out to make room for his son and his bride, Sansa. His son and his son's bride, Sansa, okay? We're on the same page, okay? Which of course, Tyrion isn't complaining about, this new arrangement, which with Sansa constantly going to the Godswood for a bit of a prayer, ostensibly, and with their new headquarters now being far away from Maegor's holdfast, giving Tyrion the freedom to move around at leisure, and minimizing the chances of bumping into Cersei, whom by now we know he utterly loathes. It's well established at this point. So on this particular night that the chapter opens on, our man Tyrion lights a candle and leaves the room, going past one new maid called Brella, who's fast asleep and snoring. Apparently she came with the new apartment, recommended by Varys because she's very discreet, say no more. You see, she used to run Renly's household, so she made it a habit of being a see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil sort of maid. And we keep being told that Renly used to indulge in things that were frowned upon in this world, but it's always in innuendos, never explicitly explained. Whereas the HBO series wasted zero time letting all viewers know right from season 1, spelled in huge neon signs. Here, I can actually, in my notes, I can actually count the clues practically on one hand, if not one finger, in the specific case of Renly. I got this right now. Let me just read that to you. I can only see one actually, specifically singling out Renly and not involving Loras and anyone else. In A Clash of Kings, Catelyn 3, Stannis simply says to Renly, "In your bed, Marjorie is like to die a maid." I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but that's it. That's it. Anyway, so Tyrion. He descends those stairs to the kitchen, and not to make himself a sandwich, but because the kitchen keep is actually connected underground with the Dragon Skull Room, crypt type thing. There's a dark room, not dark room as in developing photographs. There's a dark room where all the skulls of those Targaryen dragons are kept, which we visited once in Area 3 from Book 1. Remember where Arya Stark witnessed a conversation between two shady characters, Varys and Magister Illyrio Mopatis? Anyway, this time Tyrion is only interested in the person who's waiting in the skull room. Shall we call it the skull room? Meet me at the skull room. Yeah, you got it. Because the person who's waiting for Tyrion in the skull room is none other than, you've guessed it, Shae. That's right. And there she is, sitting naked in the jaws of some dragon skull or other. It's either Balerion or Vhagar. And Tyrion can't quite remember for all his nerdy dragon expertise. I mean, yeah, skulls look all the same. To him, anyway. Ooh, racist. And the first thing she does, Shae, is blow off the candle, which is a very foolhardy thing to do, if you ask me. In a world without lighters or matches. No, come on. Well, anyway, she starts running around the room like, you want to copulate, do you, my giant? Huh? And copulate you will, but you have to catch me first. I'm doing the old teasy thing. Oh, no. Running around a dark room, completely in the dark, in the dark, no lights, dragon skulls with teeth that as tall as you. No, that will not do at all, Shae. This is against all, health and safety regulations. You could bang your head into a dragon's tooth. I get it. I get why she's doing that. Okay, it's to enhance Tyrion's sort of like sexual excitement. You want me to catch you, do you? All right, here I come, all naked with his erection bouncing up and down. Sorry for that image. I couldn't help it. But wait till I catch you. Yeah, Shae knows all the tricks. Well, she's a survivor, lowborn and with only one entry on her resume. Oldest trade in the world. That's in history. That's what she does. That's what she's trained and experienced for. And so woman in her position, she had better be good at what she does if she wants to maintain a cushy, or let's just say a safe position in that world, as opposed to the dangers that lurk out there, just outside the Red Keep. Which in this chapter, Tyrion does remind us of. She was a camp follower when I found her. And she's passed to. In fact, yeah, I think this is as good a time as any to have a quick overview of Shae's trajectory, her career, advancement. Because coming from an abusive relationship with her father, she entered the story in Book 1 as a camp follower, indeed, in Lord Tywin Lannister's army in the Riverlands. And when Tyrion took her to King's Landing, he set her up in a huge manse near the Iron Gate. We remember all that from the Clash of Kings. There was this huge manse out there. And she was given servants, silks, gemstones, and Tyrion had her guarded by tough mercenaries, and at some point those mountain clans from the Vale, what is it, Cella? I forgot. That adorable, affable gal who wore human ears around her neck. The one. Okay. So anyway, she had all that. And at that point, she could afford expensive wines, jewelry, not to mention a personal singer as entertainment, which in our day and age, it's not like having an iPod or some sort of like music listening device, Bluetooth, whatever. It's more like having a jukebox, one of those vintage 1950s jukebox. with 45 LPs. No, actually, no. They're 45 vinyls. They're not LPs, right? By definition, more like SP, I suppose. Some of you might not even know what I'm talking about, but no, you do, dear listener. You do know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, it's actually one step up because it's human. Yeah, a minstrel, a singer, is human, and if his repertoire is rich enough, yeah, it's definitely a step up from a jukebox. I'd say in this universe. Besides, it's the only thing you have available to to listen to music. So I'd say yes, that was a step up in her career. The personal singer, actually, we might want to spend a couple more words on this personal singer, human entertainment, as it were, because this was some guy called Simon Silvertongue, who in this point in the story has already been eaten as stew in a questionable wine sink. Perhaps the qualifier questionable was redundant. Long story. Something to do with the, bronze dead body disposal network. Anyway, so then, yeah, we're back on Shay. With Stannis' troops, advancing, Varys moved Shay to the Red Keep and found her a cover job as a maid of Lolly's Stokeworth. Why? Once again, to keep her safe. It was risky to move her to the Red Keep, but at least she wasn't out there in a town and in a manse that could have attracted, bloodthirsty troops looking forward to a bit of a pillage and rape and pillage. Because we know that because what's his name, Assface, Axel Florent, never one to shy away from coming up with war crime plans and whatnot. We learned in a Davos chapter a few chapters ago. So yes, in order to keep her safe, it wasn't such a bad idea to move her to the Red Keep, as long as it was done discreetly. So her cover job was as a maid to Lolly's Stokeworth, in the employment of Lady Tanda. Okay, that's a few notches down in status, social status, from living rent-free in a manse with servants attending to her, down to maiden, to a mentally challenged girl with PTSD. Yeah, she must have realized, whoa, this is what I'm driving at. At that point, she must have realized, okay, wait a minute, is this a temporary setback, or are things only going to get worse from now on, from bad to worse? She must have started, asking questions. If she has, as we know she does, have brains. With Tyrion getting officially wed, and the threats that Tyrion's father keeps issuing, the next whore I see in your bed, I hang. You might remember that quote, which we know Tyrion has tried to explain to Shay over and over again, and she just apparently, she as a reaction, she just laughed the whole thing off. Silvery laugh and coquettish tilting of the head, but no, I think that was just for show. In my opinion, this is my theory, this was just for show. If, in fact, if Shay is smart and a sort of a Darwinian survivor, which we have established that she is, she must have started wondering, okay, how long is this situation of mine going to be sustainable for? Shouldn't I start looking for other options? How long before the jig is up, and I have to find some other way to stay safe and sound? Just saying. I'm just saying that George might have planted some of these seeds, like a good gardener that he is, for future use. So let's store all this info, and that's all I'll say about it. Because if you watch the HBO series, you'll see that Weiss and Benioff, is that their names? I'm so bad with real people's names. The Weiss and Benioff created a very different Shay who doesn't seem to have these surviving mechanisms, unless they made those surviving mechanisms even more, occult, covert than the books did. Because the TV Shay, to me, came across as a lot more capricious, kind of like, so I'm just a whore to you, am I just a whore to you? That she keeps saying that, it's like a mantra. Then now that you've got that goody two shoes highborn wife in your bed, ooh, my name is Sansa, look at me, my whole family has just been wiped out. Okay, maybe that's not exactly a boast, but yeah. But if you really love me, that's still TV Shay speaking. If you really love me, you'll tell your father where he can shove all those threats and defy him like a man. See, that kind of attitude sort of like push the envelope of what was safe and what was bit of a gamble, that's the feeling I get. I'm slightly exaggerating here, but that was the vibe I got from TV Shay. Anyway, okay, going back to this chapter, intercourse in the jaws of a dead dragon. Yeah, is there anything better than that? And a bit of a massage afterward. Oh yeah, that's the spot. Good old ASMR. Well done, you. And she's all like, oh, my lion/giant, you're so tense. Oh, what's bothering you? I'm not sure if that's actually her voice, but there you go. So what's bothering you, my giant/lion? Oh, well, where do I begin? What's bothering me? My wife, my sister, my nephew, my father, the Tyrells, Varys, Pycelle, Littlefinger, the Red Viper of Dorne. I keep thinking A Storm of Swords, the musical, could be a thing. Just putting that idea out there. Not to mention, Tyrion continues, the face that stares back at me out of the water when I wash. There's a face? Oh my God, a person hiding in your bus. Oh, I see, your own reflection. Okay. Oh, I swear, sometimes you're too clever for me. See, this is Shay still, pretending. Okay, I lied. She doesn't say any of the sorts. She just listens because she's a good listener. Part of her, defense surviving mechanism. And in fact, at this point, if she replies at all, she does, what she knows she's expected to do. No more, no less. She says all the things Tyrion wants to hear. Yeah, but you're brave. You're my lion, you're my giant, you're cool, you're awesome, yada, 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 you're awesome. And in fact, in this whole thing, Sansa, I know you married her because you had to. Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, so you get her pregnant, and then come back to me. That's okay. I'm cool about it. Yeah. And this is where we learn that Shay has actually passed from Lady Stokeworth's services to Sansa's. Playing with fire much, now she's in the same apartment. She's, sleeping, sharing the same apartment. Obviously they don't do the wild thing in that apartment. That's why they had to meet in the dragon skull room type crypt thing. And but yeah, and yes, George R. R. Martin. Yeah, I didn't miss that. George R. R. Martin doesn't miss an opportunity to kind of like give us a wink, like, yeah, wait, I know, yeah, Shay did say she's cool about, this whole marriage arrangement with Sansa and whatnot, but she does give funny looks. She does give Sansa a funny look every now and then. Now it's up to us to interpret it. I mean, is it jealousy, or is it this gal here? She could be the one person who unravels or my present lifestyle, safety, and so on here in a well-protected castle, and may well spell out my eviction out in the real world, where survival rates are way lower. So yeah, because and once again, if this new arrangement might have given Tyrion the pretext to be seen with Shay, talk to her with impunity, Varys has made it crystal clear that she had a whole alibi, she had a whole backstory, which was artfully constructed for Lady Tanda, But if Cersei should ever question Shay, or rather, if Cersei should ever question Varys on the identity of this suspiciously hot girl in Tyrion's and Sansa's headquarters, Varys had made it abundantly clear that he'll just go ahead and spill the beans. And really, when you think about it, I mean, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't it? Varys' loyalty is to Cersei and the crown in general. So, and he's already gone way out of his way to help Tyrion out in this mess, now that the latter isn't even the hand of the king anymore. So Tyrion is thinking, what the hell? Why don't I just tell Sansa about Shay? She might actually be relieved that I'm not as sex starved as she thinks. That I'm not as sex starved and as to demand to do the wild thing, to have intercourse with Sansa, with her. Yeah, but no. Actually, no. Telling Sansa about Shay, not a good idea. He thinks. Because this gal once revealed her own father's plans to Cersei. Yes, that is just a fleeting thought that he had, but he had me flipping through pages of books 1 and 2 desperately in search for more clues pointing to this particular episode. And yes, okay, I'm glad to report I found, and the Wiki of Ice and Fire not being great help in that respect, because the relevant chapter in the Clash of Kings isn't quoted, referenced there, not for now anyway. But yes, Sansa did reveal Eddard's plans to Cersei, which we find in a Clash of Kings. We find out, we put the pieces together in a Clash of Kings. After, what plans am I talking about? After Eddard discovered the truth of Joffrey's parentage, the seed is strong, and Ned told both Sansa and Arya that he was returning them to Winterfell on some ship called the Wind Witch, in case you forgot. I know I had forgotten. And at that point, Sansa, in an act of defiance, stormed out of the room, and that was it. That was the last we saw her. Well, I mean, we saw her again, but as far as that plot, that thread was concerned, that was it. She just stormed out of the room. In book 1, Eddard, so obviously Eddard as a POV couldn't give us much more insight as to where Sansa went next. But later, in A Clash of Kings, Tyrion VII, if you must know, we read this interesting dialogue, which I finally found on the printed page. Here you go. Later, in this dialogue between Cersei and Tyrion, she says, Eddard Stark was plotting with Renly, and he had written to Lord Stannis offering him the throne. We might have lost all. Even so, it was a close thing. If Sansa hadn't come to me and told me all her father's plans, there. At which point we're still in Tyrion 1, Clash of Kings. Tyrion was surprised. Truly, his own daughter. Okay, I don't do a very good Peter Dinklage. Sansa had always seemed such a sweet child, tender and courteous. And Cersei's interpretation of Sansa's actions are as follows. Well, the girl was wet with love. Just not always cynical, you know, like with a little tint of contempt. She could have just said, "Oh, she was in love," but no, the bitch was wet with love, you know. She would have done anything for Joffrey, until, of course, he cut off her father's head and called it mercy. That put an end to that. What are you going to do? So anyway, there you have it. Not one of Sansa's brightest moments, but hey, what are you going to do? Prepubescent girl in love? I mean, you don't expect her to be like this genius political strategist, right? Not at that time. So, yeah, okay. Well, it's all water under the bridge. Actually, no. Let's spend a little more on that, a few more minutes. Can you imagine how different things would have turned out if the Stark sisters had boarded the Wind Witch? And I know this is one of hundreds of what if, especially when it comes to Eddard's, plot POV chapters. What if he'd accepted Renly's offer? What if he'd accepted Littlefinger's offers? What if Eddard had done this? What if Eddard... no, Eddard was dumb. No, Eddard was smart. No, Eddard was very unlucky. No, Eddard this, Eddard that. And this, I know, this has already been speculated upon. But, again, let me put it to you. How different, how different things would have turned out if the Stark sisters had boarded the Wind Witch and gone off to Winterfell. Of course, you're thinking, first of all, they wouldn't have been safe for long during the capture of Winterfell at the hands of Theon Greyjoy and Ramsay Snow. Let's not forget. But I don't know. Would there have been a capture of Winterfell in the first place at the hands of these ragtag ironborn dudes? I mean, because with things panning out differently in King's Landing, and things would have panned out differently in King's Landing because Cersei wouldn't have had much leverage over Eddard with the girls out of her reach. That much is certain. Then, with things panning out differently in King's Landing, would Robb still have cooked up the idea of sending Theon to the Iron Islands, seeking an alliance with Balon? Makes your head spin, huh? And I know that some readers have actually followed up the whole story arc of this what if, because as far as I remember, they were also told, the captain of the Wind Witch was also told to stop at Dragonstone, visiting Stannis, giving him a letter where, Eddard, as far as I remember right now off the top of my head, recognized him as the only legitimate king, heir to the throne, and so on and so forth. But Stannis would have seized that ship and would have kept it from reaching Winterfell, because at the time, that every ship was being held on Dragonstone. Am I remember it correctly? So I mean, okay. There's enough to make our heads spin, and maybe maybe it's worth this whole alternative timeline parallel universe kind of thing is worth revisiting at a later stage. Anyway, no, right now Tyrion is thinking, yeah, no, okay, no. I'm not going to Shay, I'm aware of her, she's aware of it, of our relationship, and so is Varys. That's already way too many people. No. The best way to keep Shay safe is to send her away. Yep. Yeah, it makes my heart bleed, but what can I say? That's what a nice guy I am. Maybe in Chataya's brothel, yes. I suppose I could restore her to her old profession and sell her own body for a living. Yeah, let's do that. That's what a nice guy I can be. Okay, all right, no, maybe not. How about not the nicest solution, admittedly? Wow, why not arranging for her to get married? Yeah. In this universe, these are the few options you have. To keep a woman safe. Why not? Then Syrio Forel is no longer at hand. To train Shay in the art of water dance. To defend herself. So there. So marriage, why not? Yeah, maybe I don't know. Braun. Yeah, sounds like quite a catch. In what world is Braun a catch? I mean, of course, yeah, he's come to some possessions now. He's a lord, isn't he? And an appointed knight. Maybe not a lord, but yeah, no, I think so. Well, I'll have to go back and reread Braun's career trajectory now. But yeah, or maybe Sir Talad. Yeah, I'll give her to Sir Talad is a good guy. We all love and know Sir Talad intimately, don't we? Yeah, don't scratch your head, dear listener, because no, we don't. It's just who the hell is Sir Talad? He's been brought up here for the first time. We'll hear more about him later, but as I said, no spoilers. But tall lad, yeah, he's a tall lad. That's what he is. So far, that's all we know about him. At least he's tall. Unlike yours truly, Tyrion is thinking. So yeah, okay, Sir Talad will do. That's the solution. This is that. It's done. It's decided. That'll keep Shay safe. And yes, well, that's pretty much all I have to say about this chapter. Nice little chapter, which does plant a few more seeds, which will germinate real soon. And I certainly enjoyed talking about it, and I look forward to speaking to you again in, as I said, Sansa's POV chapter. Not better late than never, because it's been a while since we last we last were in her brains. So see you there, and if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to do all the things, and thank you for listening. Speak to you soon. Ciao.